Hey everybody, it's Jared with Big Wheel Motorsports here. Let's see, got all the repairs done from our wreck a couple weeks ago. It took a whole lot more work than I thought. I ended up working probably 3 or 4 hours that Saturday morning to just get the body work and everything all finished up. But had enough time to even paint the rear fender that I had to put on new. So everything worked out in terms of getting the repairs done. The racing that night, though, I'm not sure I got my setup completely dialed back in. Got there, it kind of sprinkled a little bit in while we were unloading. The track so in hot laps, I was shaking down the car. We don't get a ton of hot laps anyway, so I was shaking down the car and then trying to qualify all at the same time. Track was really kind of tacky, maybe a little bit soupy on top from the sprinkles. So it was like, okay. Ended up qualifying 4th out of my group of 8 or 9. Not too bad. The guys that qualified ahead of me were decently, really good guys. So for my heat race, I ended up starting 4th. The car felt really tight. Not really tight, it just felt tight. Started 4th, ended up passing one guy, coming to the checkered flag or on the last lap. So I finished 3rd, but the car felt tight, but the car had been feeling tight in all the heat races, and then it would feel good in the feature, so I didn't make a change. So I started the feature 5th, and the car was tight. Not only that, but I made some bad driving decisions. So on lap 1 or 2, and you can see it in the video when I get it posted, well, hopefully it should already be posted by the time this is posted. But you'll see on laps 1 or 2, I went to the bottom. Well, I was on the bottom, but I went way low in 3 and 4, trying to come off low in 4, try to get some bite on the bottom. And there must have been like a hump or a large bump in the track right there, because it kind of got me airborne a little bit and got me loose. And you know, after the previous race where I lost it and wrecked my car, I backed out of it and got passed by 2 or 3 folks, and I just never really gained it back. The car was too loose entering the corner. I was waiting forever to get back on the gas, and it started 5th. I ended up finishing 7th. I was fighting the car the entire way. There was even one point, I mean, the track was still really tacky, and there was even one point, like, I was pulling a tear off, and I pulled my tear off, and my helmet visor pops up, and then the tear stuck on my hand, and I'm popping my visor back down, and I'm in the middle of the corner at that point, and I'm like freaking, you know, and get back down the front stretch, and I can finally get the tear off my hand. If I had an in-car camera, it would have been very entertaining. So either way, the race was okay. Disappointed that I didn't do any better. I don't know if I should do, if it's more setup or driver or track being tacky like that, or probably all of the above. I am thinking about switching gears for the next time we run at Brush Creek, back to the 358. I've been running the 373. Apparently my right foot is a little too heavy. I struggle with a decent amount of wheel spin coming off the corner. I'm going to try the 358. We're only running at Brush Creek one more time this year, but I'm going to try the 358 at that point and see if maybe it'll help with my throttle control. Now that I've raced at Brush Creek a little bit more, I can have a better feel than I did. I only tried it the first race that I had at Brush Creek, so I'll try switching that back when we get to that. Which, speaking of that, after this past weekend's race, we have a 6-week lull in our local series schedule here, and so really we've got 6 weeks, and then we have a race at Florence Speedway, which I'm excited about. It's a half-mile track. It's a bigger track. They run, you know, lots of sprint cars and late models, and they get big crowds and all that, so I think that'll be a blast. And then I think the week after that we run Brush Creek, and then our season's over with as far as dirt goes. So either way, with this next 6 weeks, I am planning on playing around, having some more fun. I'm going to run a couple of asphalt races, and then there's an opportunity to maybe run a dirt race out of state, and I'll get to that. So this coming weekend, I'm going back onto asphalt for my first time this year for the at Anderson Speedway for the Fritz Dietzen Memorial Race. Anderson Speedway is one of my most favorite tracks to run. It is essentially like a little Bristol. It is high banked, it's quarter mile, it's super fast. You actually feel the G's like push you into the seat when you go around the corners there. And if you're flying fast, man, you just, the adrenaline is awesome and it feels great. So they've been doing this memorial race. I'm not sure how long, at least more than 8 years, because this will be my 8th year racing it. Probably, I'm gonna guess maybe 15 years or something like that. And it started off as a 100-lap non-stop race, and they ran it like that for years. It wasn't until maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, folks were complaining, worried that it was bad for their motors, and so they switched it from a 100-lap non-stop to a 75-lap race. Ran that for maybe a year or two. People were still complaining about it being bad for the motors, and then so they switched it to a 50-lap non-stop race. And then I guess folks are still worried about it hurting their motors, so they've now made it to a 50-lap race, but it's going to have 25 laps. Then we'll stop, and they'll run another class feature race, and then we'll come back out and finish the last 25 laps. And I just don't know if I prescribe to everybody's logic. For one, they've been running this 100-lapper for probably 8 to 10 years before I even started. And they were getting car counts in the 26, 28, 30 cars showing up, and they would put them all on the track, which was even more awesome. 30 legend cars on a quarter-mile asphalt track. Talk about friggin' awesome, right? For 100 laps. And they were getting the car counts, and it was fantastic. I was looking through the archives at on Anderson Speedway's website, and I think it was 2005 or 2006. Chris Buescher came and won the 100-lapper race. And you know, obviously now he's racing in the Monster Cup Series, which is fantastic. We've had other drivers that have raced in the Truck Series now. Ben Rhodes has raced in that. The Donahues, which have both raced Truck Series races, have raced in that. I think Kevin won one year. I don't know if that was a 100-lapper. That might have been when it was 75 laps or something like that. But it drew people in, and I think with the right amount of promotion and maybe sweetening the pot a little bit, you could regain the prestige of this race instead of kind of dumbing it down to, you know, 2 twin 25s and you know, just whatever. It used to be like, man, you had to survive it mentally, and you obviously had to survive it, you know, Rex wise. But it meant a lot when you finished 100 laps. I mean, you were exhausted. Trust me, I finished maybe my 3rd time trying it. I finished the race. It was the first time I'd finished because I wrecked out one year, my first year. My second year, my muffler came off, and I thought I'd damaged something on the motor. So I pulled in and couldn't get back out without being, 100 laps down or whatnot. But I think the 3rd year ran the 100 laps, and I finished 5th. And I came out of that thing exhausted, sweating, and freaking absolutely enthralled. I loved it. It kind of teaches you something about yourself when you go through 100 laps. Your car changes so much. For a decent amount of the race, you might be racing alone for 20 laps, and you try different lines. You can run the same line for 3 or 4 laps and then try a different line for 3 or 4 laps, or try doing stuff different with your car. and it's fun. You know, I love those long races. But like I said, they've kind of dumbed it down now. The funny part is so for twice for that 75 lapper, I didn't do it for the 100 lapper. I've got a temperature monitoring probe that I'll put on the engine head, and I've measured it twice during this race, and it's shown both times that somewhere around 20 to 25 laps your engine kind of peaks in temperature. It's like 22, 23 laps. Your engine kind of peaks in temperature and then stabilizes. And so it doesn't get that much hotter. Now, the thing that affects it the most by watching these temperature monitoring is when you are under caution. These are air-cooled motors, so less air coming into the motor, you see the temperature spike. Stopping. One of the big things I saw is I'd leave the temperature monitor on it literally until I got the car home, just to see how long it took to cool that back down. Well, I tell you, you run 25 laps and then you park your car, even with fans on it, that engine temperature shoots through the roof. The fans help, don't get me wrong, but the stopping and the lack of airflow is actually worse for your motor than running at full speed. I mean, at Anderson, you're running 60 to 80 miles an hour probably, maybe averaging 80 miles an hour. And that's a lot more air than what you're going to get from a little fan or, you know, or whatever. So I almost think it might be worse for the motors for us to race 25 laps, come into the pits, stop for, let's say, 15 to 25 minutes, and then go back out. We're going to try to cool our motors down. We're going to do the best that we can. But the motors will probably get right back to temperature within 5 laps, if they're not hotter. And we'll be in the same boat or worse than we would be with 50 laps. Or with the 50 laps straight through. And I would argue that, you know, 75 laps or 100 laps really, I mean, you're going to wear a motor, right? I mean, running it when it's all heated up like that, you're wearing a motor. But crying out loud, we're all here to race. But you're not doing substantially more damage to your motor by running all those laps, cooling wise. So as you can see, I'm fairly passionate about that. I love Anderson. The promoters there are fantastic. They run the track really well, very organized, and they're nice guys, nice folks there. So either way, I'll be there this Saturday. If I have everything right, so I've got the car, you can see, I actually have it all set up. I have a brand new set of Asphalt cut tires on there, on some new wheels, and everything's set up. Ride heights are done. I've adjusted my front suspension dynamics or settings to get my caster camber and everything that I want. I've scaled it. Everything's ready right now. I just need to, I forgot to change the oil filter. So I'm going to change the oil filter tonight, and then the car's ready to go. If my life doesn't get too busy and I'm not too tired, Thursday night, a local racetrack up here called Killcare Raceway, which used to run every Friday night, used to run Legends, they do a test and tune every Thursday night. So you pay 20 bucks, you get in, you can run their drag strip or you can run their circle track, all you want. If I can, my goal is to get there Thursday night, take the car and break in the tires, just so I don't have to worry about any of that on Saturday. I really wish Killcare ran more. I think they've been running some circle tracks on Sundays, like every other Sunday or a couple times a month. But either way, so that's my plan. We'll see how well that works out. Stay tuned to the Facebook page, and I'll kind of keep you guys all updated with that. So after this weekend's Anderson race on Asphalt, there's an opportunity. Labor Day weekend, I talked about last week about going to the HillBilly 100 in West Virginia. It's about 4 hours away. Our series, our local dirt series, is putting that on, but it's a non-points race. I don't even think it's a money-paying race. I think we get into the pits for free and we're just there to have fun. But it's a big race night where the HillBilly 100 is, and there's going to be a ton of fans, and there's nothing more fun as a racer than pulling out onto a track and seeing a bazillion fans. And I'll tell you, the best place to do that is Bowman Gray Stadium, because I've done that, and you walk out, and I like literally smiled from ear to ear just pulling onto the racetrack. Like, you get shivers pulling onto the racetrack when you have thousands of fans there to watch. So right now, that also Labor Day weekend being my wife's birthday. It looks like my wife might actually be going to take some personal time with a bed and breakfast and kind of pampering herself. And if that does work out, then chances are I will be at the HillBilly 100. I'd probably say it's greater than 50% chance right now that I'll be able to go to that. Then I do plan on running, maybe, I think there's a Saturday race at Speedrome, which is in Indianapolis. Really small, I think it's like a 5th mile track. Really hard brakes, and it's like a gritty kind of beat 'em bang 'em kind of racetrack. But I haven't raced there in several years because the ownership sucked over the last several years, but now they're under new ownership. And then like I said, we'll have Florence and then another Brush Creek. And then I talked about last week about doing road course racing. So October 21st is right now my plan to run a road course race, either Dominion Raceway or Atlanta Motorsports Park. And I'm kind of leaving that up to you guys. You guys tell me where you want me to go. So far, I've heard several people say Atlanta Motorsports Park, and I haven't heard anybody say Dominion Raceway. So right now, it's looking like Atlanta Motorsports Park, unless I hear anything different from you folks. And depending on how well that goes, I may actually try to run some of the Winter Heat Series road course races down in Charlotte. We'll see. I'm all up for wanting to try new stuff. So we'll see how that all shakes out. So other than that, I'll be at Anderson this weekend, maybe the HillBilly 100 next weekend. I just need to get my oil filter changed here tonight, and hopefully maybe get out to break in the tires on Thursday night, and we'll go from there. So been real busy working on the car these past couple weeks. I could use just a couple days to sit down and chill and relax, but we'll see. If you have any questions or comments or anything, leave them below. Check out our Facebook page. I know a lot of you guys like to just watch the videos and everything, but I do actually post pictures and updates throughout the week if we're working on the car, if we're doing something, or even during the race day with qualifying and heat race and all that kind of stuff on our Facebook page. So check us out, Big Mo Motorsports on Facebook. So, all right, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.